Virgil Abloh, the artistic director of Louis Vuitton and the first African-American to head a French luxury fashion house, has died of cancer at the age of 41. LVMH, the French holding company that owns Louis Vuitton, said on Sunday that Abloh had passed away earlier that day after several years' private struggle with the disease. "We are all shocked after this terrible news," said LVMH boss Bernard Arnault. Virgil was not only a genius designer, a visionary, he was also a man with a beautiful soul and great wisdom. "The LVMH family joins me in this moment of great sorrow, and we are all thinking of his loved ones after the passing of their husband, their father, their brother, or their friend." Fans reacted with shock and sorrow to the announcement, while celebrities including youth star Idris Elba, musician and producer Pharrell Williams, and British rapper AJ Tracey paid tribute. In a post on Instagram, Abloh's family said, "For over 2 years, Virgil valiantly battled a rare, aggressive form of cancer, cardiac angiosarcoma. He chose to endure his battle privately since his diagnosis in 2019, undergoing numerous challenging treatments, all while helming several significant institutions that span fashion, art, and culture. Through it all, his work ethic, infinite curiosity, and optimism never wavered. Virgil was driven by his dedication to his craft and to his mission to open doors for others and create pathways for greater equality in art and design. We thank you all for your love and support, and we ask for privacy as we grieve and celebrate Virgil's life." Abloh, the child of Ghanaian immigrants who grew up in Chicago and trained as a civil engineer and then an architect, made his name through collaborations with the rapper Kanye West, with whom he began working in 2002 at the age of 22. "We got into about 60% of the shows," Abloh said about that time in a 2017 interview with W magazine. "We were a generation that was interested in fashion and weren't supposed to be there. We saw this as our chance to participate and make current culture. In a lot of ways, it felt like we were bringing more excitement than the industry was." After a stint as the creative director of Mr. West's design agency Donda, and art director for Mr. West and Jay-Z's 2011 album Watch the Throne, Abloh launched his own Milan-based streetwear brand in 2013 called Off-White. Though he had no formal training in fashion, he had learned much from his seamstress mother and took omnivorous inspiration from art, music, architecture, politics, furniture design, and clothing both high and low. He ascended quickly, winning a British Fashion Award and collaborating with Warby Parker, Jimmy Choo, IKEA, and Nike while opening shops in New York and Tokyo. By 2018, Off-White was named as the second hottest fashion brand in the world, behind only Gucci, by the List Index, which uses online shopping data and social media sentiment analysis. That was the year that Abloh was named artistic director of Louis Vuitton's menswear collections, the first African-American to win such a role. "It is an honor for me to accept this position," he said at the time. "Off-White," he said, "is for the 17-year-old version of myself, whereas Vuitton is for the 37-year-old I am today." Meanwhile, he gained respect as a DJ, starting out with house parties in high school and later playing a nightclub residency at the Wynn Luxury Resort in Las Vegas, as well as 2 radio shows. "For so long I didn't see designers that looked like me." Abloh spoke often of wanting to inspire younger generations with his example, saying there was an air of impossibility to his journey. "I'm always trying to prove to my 17-year-old self that I can do creative things I thought weren't possible," he once said. In 2019, he told the New York Times, "For so long I didn't see artists or designers that looked like me in spheres of high art or high fashion, so I believed I couldn't do that. But now, in this moment, in a way, I've become part of the establishment." He drew frequent inspiration from social media influencers and embraced so-called hyperbeasts, a slang term for young men with money to burn who obsessively pursue every new product in street fashion. The former, he said, don't realize the power they have. They could become more relevant than fashion brands, while the latter were a powerful new influx into the art and fashion world whose hunger proved they knew better than the establishment. Explaining his fusion of youth culture into high fashion, he told W, "I don't come from where I'm supposed to come from. So I have to prove that this is design, that this is art, that this is valid." By showing off streetwear in art museums, he hoped to democratize the museum by bringing in new audiences, but mused ruefully that it might only be presenting an elite version of sadness. "We must announce that our lead singer and brother Riley Gale passed away last night," the band said. Riley was a friend, a brother, a son. Riley was both a larger-than-life rock star and a humble and giving friend. He touched so many lives through his lyrics and through his huge heart. He treated everyone he met as a friend, and he always took care of his friends. We will celebrate Riley's life and never forget the great works of music, charity, and love that he left behind. You, the fans, meant so much to him. Please know how special you are. If you have a memory of Riley, please share it, no matter how small, as we remember him. Gale formed Power Trip in 2008 while working an office job and attending the University of North Texas. The band released 2 full-length albums via Southern Lord, 2013's Manifest Decimation and Nightmare Logic in 2017. A politically outspoken artist, Gale explained how Nightmare Logic was a reaction to extreme wealth disparity and his idea of a revolt against the super-rich. "If you don't like our stances, don't support our band," he said in a 2018 Revolver interview. "It doesn't make a single difference to us. We try to make it pretty clear that we might all be white males, but this is not a band for white males to enjoy and be dumb rednecks." The band is asking for privacy at this time and donations to Dallas Hope Charities. Devastated to hear about Riley Gale's passing, music critic Kim Kelly wrote, "Power Trip has had a massive impact on the metal community, and Riley's ferocious drive and passion was such a big part of why. He was a great artist, a good friend, a real one. Metal won't be the same without him." U.S. actor and singer Jack Wagner tweeted, "Rest in peace, Riley Gale. Sincerely one of the most wonderful people I've ever known. I've been crying like a baby since I heard." Aleksi Laiho, frontman for Finnish metal band Children of Bodom, has died suddenly aged 41. The musician, ranked consistently as one of the best guitarists in the world, had been suffering from long-term health issues, according to reports. The news was announced in a statement posted on the Twitter account of independent label Napalm Records, from Laiho's supergroup Bodom After Midnight. "It is with heavy hearts and great sadness that we have to announce the passing of Aleksi Laiho. We are absolutely devastated and heartbroken for the sudden loss of our dear friend and band member," the statement said. It was signed by Laiho's bandmates Daniel Freyberg, Mecha Toivonen, and Waltteri Väyrynen. Laiho formed Children of Bodom with Jaska Ratikainen in 1993 and remained in the band until its dissolution in December 2019. Last year, he formed Bodom After Midnight, with whom he recorded 3 songs and a music video, which Brave Words reports will be released posthumously. The guitarist, who received a number of international music awards over his career, was also associated with acts including Woman, the hardcore punk band Kyle Halut, Village Idiots, and the Local Band. In 2015, he led a group of 100 guitar players at Helsinki Festival in 2015, in a concert piece he composed himself. Louder Sound reports that his wife, Kelly Laiho Wright, said, "Aleksi was the most loving and magnificent husband and father. Our hearts are systemic change, not reactionary change." In his later years, the rise of the far right across the world, the coronavirus pandemic, and the Black Lives Matter protests of 2020 brought out a more explicitly political strain. He worked with the conceptual artist Jenny Holzer, known for projecting stark political and philosophical statements onto public buildings, on a show addressing immigration and the refugee crisis. He provoked a backlash by denouncing looters during the George Floyd protests and appearing to only donate $50, £37.48 for demonstrators' legal fees, but later apologized for the comments and clarified that he had donated $205,000 to bail funds and related causes. That July, he raised $1 million to provide new scholarships for black fashion students, later saying he had been disturbed by fashion companies issuing shallow declarations of solidarity while he sat in meetings and calls that seemed ignorant of the crisis going on outside. Nobody knows how to talk about race, he told Vogue in October 2020. It's so deep in our hearts, so full of different experiences, or in most cases, people don't even know what it could be to feel like you've been oppressed. He said he had often seen his career as a Trojan horse, saying, "My power is to show black talent, black people, and black people inside of my output." Now he seemed to be wondering if that was enough. "I want to see systemic change, not reactionary change," he said. "I want to see the HR department empathize and sympathize with why this is an important issue, before they do it for PR. Does the fashion industry have a race problem? Well, it's so systemic and deep that it can't even look at itself when it represents itself." Tributes from black stars across the world. In the background, since 2019, Fllow was also battling a rare and aggressive form of cancer known as cardiac angiosarcoma, where tumors form in the walls of blood or lymph vessels, usually starting in the heart. Fans were shocked and dismayed by the announcement, with one post on Instagram by the Louis Vuitton brand account receiving almost 250,000 likes within its first hour. "Fllow made Louis Vuitton fun again," said one comment. "My heart is broken," said Pharrell. Virgil, "You are a kind, generous, thoughtful, creative genius. Your work as a human and your work as a spiritual being will live forever." A.G. Tracy tweeted, "R.I.P. Virgil, you did so much for all of us and showed me so much love early on. Thank you for everything." In a statement on Instagram, Questlove wrote, "The teachable lesson here is disrupt. Provoke. Be controversial. Push buttons. Be a conversation piece. Live as a true artist." The Hong Kong-based fashion and media firm Hypebeasts said, "Thank you for your distinctive vision and for inspiring a generation." Virgil Abloh is survived by his wife Shannon Abloh, his children Lo Abloh and Gray Abloh, his sister Edwina Abloh, and his parents Nee and Eunice Abloh. Jill Murphy, the beloved children's author and illustrator known for creating The Worst Witch, has died of cancer aged 72. The author's most recent book, Just One of Those Days, was published in September last year. Her son Charlie Murphy said in a statement, "I feel beyond lucky to have had a mom like mine, and it's impossible to summarize the ways her absence will be felt." Murphy wrote the first Worst Witch book when she was just 18. It was published in 1974. The most recent and 8th installment in the popular children's series was released in 2018. The books were first adapted for TV in 1986, and there have been 2 subsequent series, one made in the 1990s and another that ran during the 2010s. The books were also adapted for the stage. Pamela Todd, Murphy's friend and agent for more than 30 years, said, "It's a sad day for children's books. Jill was so creative, beautiful, and funny. Her genius lay in the way both the child and the adult could identify with her stories, which she wrote and illustrated herself. Children who grew up on Peace at Last, Whatever Next, and The Large Family are now buying the books for their children's children. The little girls who created playground games around Mildred Hubble and her classmates are now directing, producing, and acting in the television series of The Worst Witch and the stage show, which last year took the Olivier Award. Jill was just coming into her prime and had so much more to offer. This is a great loss, not least to me personally, but we are comforted that she leaves an amazing legacy of books for generations to come." Belinda Ioni Rasmussen, managing director of Macmillan Children's Books, added, "She had an unparalleled talent for storytelling through words and pictures." Riley Gale, singer for the thrash metal band Power Trip, has died aged 34. The news was confirmed in a family statement posted to the band's social media. The cause of Gale's death has not been disclosed.